We're going to explore the book of Ecclesiastes. And in many ways, it's the strangest book to address in the Bible. Is everything in the Bible true? Your first reaction is, of course, it's the Bible. Well, there are some exceptions. Most notably, this book is going to say a lot of things that isn't necessarily so. And you'll see why as we get into it, but I just want to have your caution flag flying. Many people misunderstand this book and they regard it as being extremely pessimistic. In fact, the very common title is Life Really Worth Living? And we're going to be hearing from the wisest man that ever lived, other than Jesus, of course, the richest man that probably ever lived, who could indulge anything he wanted. And he comes up pretty gloomy. So what are we doing here? Well, for one thing, the psalmist tells us to teach us to number our days so that we might apply our hearts to wisdom. And that's what we're really going to do. You see, one of the key phrases in this book is vanity of vanities. This book is recognized as being written by Solomon. Vanity of vanities, all is vanity. He loved that word vanity. He used it over 38 times in this book. And he also will write about life as he sees it under the sun. Everything under the sun is this, that, or the other thing. We need to recognize that he's got his blinders on, because there's much more to the universe than what's physical under the sun, namely heaven and God and many other more important things. So recognize the limitations. The word vanity, by the way, means emptiness, futility, a vapor, that which vanishes quickly and leaves nothing behind. So from a human point of view, it's going to emerge that life seems futile. And it's easy for us to get pessimistic. So the first few verses, the words of the preacher, son of David, king in Jerusalem. Vanity of vanities, saith the preacher, vanity of vanities, all is vanity. What profit hath a man of all his labor which he taketh under the sun? Very dismal opening. And by the way, that's not only the first three verses, that's also at the close of the book, chapter 12, verse 8, near the end. He puts the key to the book up front, and in the front door and also in the back door. Before we go on, let's realize that Jesus rebuts this, in effect. John 10:10, Jesus says, I am come that they might have life, and that they might have it more abundantly. So don't let the gloomy outlook that would have seemed to be Solomon's summary dissuade us from the reality. What Solomon's going to do before he's through, he's going to focus us on the real realities. We also notice what Paul's fabulous declaration is in 1 Corinthians 15, which I think Paul would point out is probably the most important chapter in the Bible. 1 Corinthians 15 is the resurrection chapter. Without that chapter, we have nothing. But he also has this great injunction by Paul. Therefore, my beloved brethren, be ye steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, for as much as ye know that your labor is not in vain in the Lord. So that's what we're going to try to put in contrast. I do it right up front so we don't get confused. The Jewish writer, Shalom Aleichem, once described life as a blister on top of a tumor and a boil on top of that. That's a definition you can almost feel, isn't it? The British playwright George Bernard Shaw said that life is simply a series of inspired follies. Dr. Edward Teller once said to me, he suggested that a pessimist is simply the one that has more information. But then he also defined an optimist as the one who thinks the future's uncertain. And then as you wince with that, he looked me right in the eye and says, Chuck, it's our duty to be an optimist because then we at least try.